Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to tonight's Frisco Report. You know what time it is, baby. It's Capo time. Let's do it. Boom. All right, guys. So we got a great show coming up tonight. Hope all you guys are ready to get involved here in tonight's show. All right, it's going to be a lot of fun here. And got a lot of topics to cover. All right, guys. So the main news of the day to get things going are, the situation here with the status of Mike McCarthy. All right. Mike McCarthy, I think he's getting the benefit of the doubt with the COVID, the injuries, that kind of thing. Jerry Jones said that he's surprised that it's even a question, So, I can definitely see that part of it, It's hard to win games with all these main guys out, Tyron, Lyle, Frederick retired. Yeah, trying to fill that position with Looney and Biadish and that kind of thing. So I can definitely see that side of the coin. But let me know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments. Do you agree with Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones? Because everybody's on board. They're all on the same page as far as it goes for McCarthy. Let me know in the comments, in the chat box, if you guys agree with Jerry Jones and go ahead and keeping Mike McCarthy here, moving forward. Do you agree with him? Do you think they should reboot this whole thing? Let me know in the comments, guys. I really do appreciate what you guys think on this front. All right. So let's see what we got. Let's see what we got going on here, baby. Still waiting on Mike to join the broadcast. He'll be on here in just a moment. Let's see if we got him on here. Here we go. Mike. What's up, man?
Hey, I had those VIP tickets, man. I was backstage. I was ready to meet you.
The backstage passes, baby. The backstage the VIP. Yeah, man. So let's see what we got here in the comments, guys. Mike McCarthy, yes or no?
Yeah, Mike McCarthy. I told you guys that I lost a lot of fans, and it's going to take a lot, to get me back. But then I was talking to a Green Bay Packer fan, Joe, and the Green Bay Packers said his first year as a Green Bay Packer coach was exactly like this one right here, and he ran out the table in the last 4 games and went 8-8, right? So 7-9 is probably what we're going to be doing here, but at the same time, if Mike McCarthy can build some kind of success, maybe he won't lose that locker room and people will get excited rolling into the next year. So Mike McCarthy still has to build a lot of trust from me. Kellen Moore, Jesus, a lot of trust for me because it's the same old Jason Garrett offense. Mike McCarthy needs to step in there and change the offense up, especially if they don't sign Dak. So there's a lot at stake here this offseason, so we'll see what happens. But Mike McCarthy, it's fair to give him one more year.
Very good, and we're seeing a lot of that sentiment here in the chat box, in the comments. Jay Grant, I agree, but they need to get rid of the defensive coach, Lavelle. We need to let him implement his system. Yes, I agree with that. Soup Trap, I agree, but not Nolan. Okay. What else you guys think? How the rest of you guys feel about this? We got a lot of people here lurking. Go ahead and let us know what you guys think about. Do you want to keep McCarthy? Yes or no? But this is a good point. Mario Flores, I agree, but not Nolan. So let's move to this subject here, guys. Mike Nolan is likely gone. I just don't see any way that you can keep this guy. You know what I mean? I don't really see the improvement. You know what I mean? And the injuries are not as devastating as they have been on the offensive side of the ball, in my opinion. But it just looks like they haven't been able to find any kind of success. This whole thing about the hybrid system and this and that, I think they just went goofy here and they're just, struggling, Mike.
Well, you look at Mike Nolan's track record, and we did a really good job covering Mike Nolan when he was named defensive coordinator, and I brought up Mike Nolan's resume, and I try to sugarcoat that thing and say he didn't have that much talent, but he has a lot of talent here in Big D. I've talked about the linebackers New Orleans had last year, that he was strictly just coaching, was a linebackers coach there in New Orleans. And I try to sugarcoat it and say, the talent just wasn't there. But as a linebacker, as strictly as a linebacker coach, Joe, he could do something. But as a defensive coordinator, his resume just it speaks for itself.
Henry Hill wants to fire the entire staff. So obviously there's those guys out there, Mike, that do want the entire coaching staff. And what do you think about that?
It's just the result of a bad season. You got bad performance, you want change, right?
Yeah.
It's natural instincts for a human to be that way. And no one dog on Henry Hill. I mean, that's a valid point. He's just not happy with the coaching stuff. The 4th and 10, Joan Fossil did the boneheaded decision, watching a delay a game on a field goal attempt by Mike McCarthy. Kellen Moore only calling 2 plays, pass to Zeke and a wide receiver play, screen. It's fair to think this way, but Mike Nolan's resume has not been good as a defensive coordinator, and it hasn't improved either, Joe.
It hasn't improved, and that's the thing about it. And we're already here. 3 games left. It's not going to happen. And even if you do see some type of improvement, too late. I think the damage is done there. And you have these new young kids in here, coming in here. Like, do they want to go through this again with this coach? Do they have faith in him? You know what I mean? But guys, let me know in the chat box in the comments, who do you want for the defensive coordinator? I'm real interested in what you guys have to say. Mike, you can chime in as well. Let's just go through this exercise, everybody. All right, I want everybody to sound off here in the chat box and in the comments. If Mike Nolan is gone, which I'm thinking he's going to be, who do you want the Cowboys to bring in here to coordinate this defense? Let me know in the chat box. Let's see what you guys got here. We'll post these up as they start trickling in here.
Well, you have to look and see what schematically, what is the defense going to do? Is Mike McCarthy going to just pull the trigger and say, we're going to be 3-4? If so, get you a 3-4 defensive coordinator. If your talent says and screams 4-3, which this roster does, stick with the 4-3. I have a fear, Joe, that if we play around with this 3-4 crap, this defense, who's ranked 32nd in almost every category, will be that way for a while if we go to a 3-4 defense. If they get back to the fundamentals of a 4-3 defense, simplify this thing, scheme around the players on defense, it shouldn't be that bad of a transition for this new defensive coordinator. And I really believe there will be a new one. But Mike Nolan, Mike McCarthy, Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones, these guys got to pull the trigger right after week 17 and say, this is what we're doing. Let's game plan around this. Because if emails keep going to the spam inbox, we're going to wind up with a 3-4 defense, and it's going to shoot us in the – it's going to be bad.
Yeah, and this is something that the Cowboys have been fighting for a while. They went from Parcells, he converted over to the 3-4 from Mike Zimmer's 4-3. We went to Parcells 3-4. We kind of kept that with Wade Phillips and Garrett for a bit, and then Garrett changed it back to the 4-3. And it's just like these guys have been trying to figure this thing out, and they haven't. Although I have to say that I think the defense did perform better with 3-4. Obviously, you had DeMarcus Ware, Anthony Spencer, Hatcher, and some of these Ratliff, these guys that were able to apply pressure. This 4-3 that Garrett, converted us over to, they've been struggling, and to the point of, do they want to go to a 3-4? How do you fit DeMarcus Lawrence into a 3-4? Is he a stand-up pass rusher? I think we've seen he prefers his hand in the ground. All right. We've seen Howie Long break this down in the pregame show, what the difference is between hand in the ground, standing up. It's a big difference, the burst and that kind of thing. So for me, as much as I like the idea of Wade Phillips coming in here, I really would question how would Lawrence fit into this. I mean, you're paying him a lot of money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just don't see where you can put him as a 5 tech and just, not – filling gaps and not pressuring the quarterback. So,
And that's why I'm saying, if they go to a 3-4, we're going to suck for a long time. We've been wasting cap dollars. We've been wasting talent. We've been wasting a lot trying to figure out this defense, who they really, let's be honest, they really just now starting investing in.
Yeah.
I mean, on the salary cap numbers, the entire defensive players are getting paid $34 million a year for the entire defense. They weren't investing in this thing at all. They were signing all these bridge players, George Selvey, Jeremy Mincy. Remember these names? And they would get 5 sacks, and the Cowboys were comfortable with that. They left TJ Watt on the board, drafted Taco Charlton. Y'all remember that? They've left so much defense out in the open that look where we're at now. Yeah. I'm surprised it didn't come sooner, Joe.
Absolutely. Seeing some familiar names out here. Dan Quinn is one out here. This that would make sense. 4-3 guy, obviously. Wade Phillips, we're seeing that name out there. Who else you got out here, guys? Let me know in the chat box. Mario wants Dennis Allen, Saints DC. That Peyton ain't letting that guy go.
Chuck Pagano.
Robert Salah, whatever the hell his name is, 49ers. I don't see them letting him go. But that would be a lateral move, although I do like him.
That'd be clutch.
Cowboys maybe it could be George Edwards. Yeah, that's a name I've kind of kicked around. And I think the Cowboys goofed up here. They should have shown Mike Nolan the door and get a look at George Edwards here in the last quarter of the year just to see. You know what I mean? Now, they're just gonna ride this thing out. But yeah, Cowboy Mike, I do like that one there. Defensive coordinator for the Dolphins. Yeah, they're playing good. They're playing pretty good there.
I don't know if he would step down as a linebacker coach, though. I think if they're going to get rid of him, they're going to get rid of him entirely.
I do like this. The Clemson coordinator. I do love that. I feel that the way the NFL is heading, you're seeing a lot more of these collegiate plays and this kind of thing, and some of these coordinators are not able to handle this. You're seeing it across the league. It wouldn't be a bad idea to dip into the collegiate level. I like, Brett out of Clemson. I think that's a good one. Chuck Pagano could be available if Nagy gets the boot over there in Chicago, which is quite possible. Do see a Matt Patricia here in the comments. Zimmer or Lewis?
Here's my problem with Matt Patricia, though. Tom Brady and that offense carried that team, and LeGarrette Blount, was that his name? Was that a running back? Some linebacker over there. What's the big guy? What's his name? The guy's huge. That linebacker in New England. What's his name? Help me out.
Oh, Teddy Bruschi.
No. That's old school. I talk about right now.
I don't know. Let Mike know who that is. I don't know the Patriots linebacker.
But that's all Matt Patricia had over there, and yeah, James Harrison, Hightower. Thank you, Robbie. Hightower. Yeah. Matt. I don't think Matt Patricia's the answer either. I mean, you look at his
Dante Hightower. Yeah, it's a good player out of Alabama.
Yeah, I mean, that's really all he had, and then he had Gilmore for the corner. But other than that, I don't think Matt Patricia will be the guy.
We see the Bounty Gate name pop up. Greg Williams makes an appearance in the chat box. There we go, guys.
Oh, Mr. Bounty.
There we go, guys. We got a lot of good names in here. Let's see what the Cowboys do, man. They definitely got to make the change there.
Lovie Smith.
Yeah, Lovie Smith. I think he's coaching like Illinois or one of those colleges.
Oh, really? I wouldn't mind Marvin Lewis, though. I was all on board for hiring Mike McCarthy and having Marvin Lewis be the DC.
Honestly, I could see Marvin Lewis. That seems like a Cowboys move. All these popular, name recognition guys are the names that fans like. The Cowboys will go over here and do a Marvin Lewis, which, he's got name recognition too. You know what I mean?
His resume is a lot better than Mike Nolan's.
His resume is a lot better, and he excelled. A defensive coordinator, came from Baltimore, did pretty good there. Saying Lovie Smith just got fired. Yeah, so we'll see there. We'll see them.
Why did he get fired?
Rex Ryan. Lamont, you're making me laugh over here, brother. Yeah, remember that. That was a disaster. Urban Meyer, guys. Yeah, great stuff. Mike, let's transition to another topic here. The Cowboys refusing to play Reggie Robinson, Bradlee, and Anae. It's frustrating me. You got 3 games left. Rashad Robinson did better. Steven Smith, they did better, but it's the Bengals. You know what I mean? Like, everybody looked good, but the Bengals are a worse team than the Cowboys. So that's a little bit harder of an evaluation because they're just such a bad team. I want to see what the heck is going on here, Mike. Like, do you think, and everybody in the chat box and everybody watching live in the comments, do you think we will ever see Reggie Robinson or Bradlee and I get any significant snaps this season? Let me know in the chat box, guys. Mike, what do you think?
I don't. Bradlee and Anae, unfortunately, when Randy Gregory came back, the Bradlee and Anae ship sailed. It's position groups. Reggie Robinson is listed as a safety. Donovan Wilson's out, but you got Thompson in there, playing for him. They like Thompson, but it's just a roster depth issue. And it's just where they play on this team is what's stopping them from being active because of the depth that they already established. And the only reason why Reggie Robinson is active because Donovan Wilson got hurt. And so it's a position group that it's healthy. Well, not necessarily healthy, but the defensive line position group is more healthier than what Reggie Robinson's facing. But I don't think they're going to get anything this year unless it's the last game of the year and they want to do it like a dress rehearsal against the Giants.
Yeah, guys. I agree. I agree with that assessment, Mike. Guys, in the chat box, let us know. Do you think we're going to see any significant snaps from Anae or Reggie Robinson? Here we go, Lavelle. Nope, Anae and Reggie will have to wait until next season. I feel like that's what's going to happen. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's valuable. We saw how valuable these snaps are to developing a player. I like what we saw out of Connor McGovern getting some valuable snaps. He needed those snaps. Tyler Biadasz, when he got in there, you could see the growth. You know what I mean? And you see the growth with Connor McGovern. And being that we were in such a need on the defensive side of the ball, why wouldn't they want to take a look at these guys? It's disappointing. It's disappointing to me. You know what I mean? But yeah, it looks like they're getting caught up in the numbers. I think they asked Stephen Jones's question or one of those guys, and I think they brought that very topic up, Mike. That Anae's getting caught up in the numbers game. So unfortunate.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't know that, dude. I haven't watched a press conference from anybody. Watched anything in like 5 weeks, dude. I threw in the towel in those press conferences because it's the same thing. They're like politicians up there.
Mm-hmm. Stevie Mac. We just had their attempts on Descon Newark today, and he said Reggie's still developing and learning because of the position switch. Yeah, it's an interesting thing there on that. But get a look at the guy. You know what I mean?
Well, here's my thing, though.
It can't be as bad as these other guys. These other guys look lost as hell as well. So I don't think there's that big of a difference. But I guess the staff, they do.
Well, here's my thing, though, Joe. Reggie Robinson, let's talk about him for a second. He's played some special team snaps. I didn't see him around the ball carrier. Do you want reps? You got to play special teams. Darian Thompson was a former second-round pick from the Giants a couple of years back. You got Donovan Wilson, who lit it up in preseason last year, got some chances this year, and is a hard-hitting stud. You got to go out there and earn chances. And Reggie Robinson isn't doing that on the chances he is getting on special teams, though. Let's be honest.
Yeah, that's what's going on there. So, yeah, I agree. I think Lavelle said it. I think he said it. We're not going to see him until next year. I've kind of just giving up on the dream there. You know what I mean? They're going to go with who they're going to go with. They're stubborn as hell. We've seen them roll with Terrence Steele. You know, he's shown a little bit of improvement, but you know, you still it's good that they still got these snaps. And the reason I think that they put him out there, I have a feeling that Cowboys feel that at some point next season you're probably going to see him again. You know what I mean? Like, can you trust Tyron Smith 100% or Lyle Collins from the hip injury? You can't. It's all hoping and wishing right now. What I mean, and the Cowboys cannot put all their eggs in one basket, thinking that Tyron Smith on the decline. You know, we talk about the career arc. He's over here. All right, Lyle Collins, we don't know. So these snaps for Terrence Steele, I think they're valuable because I really do think that if they don't draft a higher end offensive tackle in this draft or pick up another free agent, that's going to be your swing tackle, and along with Brandon Knight probably. But yeah, they got to protect themselves there. So I think that's why they're going with Steele. Mike, what's your thoughts there on Steele getting these snaps continuously?
I think, you know, pet cats. Brian Broaddus always talked about pet cats. Bill Parcells always talked about pet cats. I think this is Joe Philbin's pet cat. This Terrence Steele. Can I see progression in his play? You know, for 2 weeks I can say. Now, there is boneheaded mistakes where he thinks Zeke's going to come out and chip for him, and he wants to help out McGovern. He looks terrible on film when he does that. There's a few stunts where the defensive end will do a spin, and it eats his lunch. But that's just a handful of plays versus the majority of the play. So I'm seeing improvement from Doo-Doo Pants Steele. I'm going to call him that forever. But I think it's just a pet cat that Joe Philbin has.
Joe Philbin. Yeah, great comments in the chat box, guys. Great stuff out here. Paul Sandoval. Jones is a fantastic salesman, though. Yeah. And he and fans, a lot of them, they buy into it. You know what I mean? Some fans, they think it's gospel, everything that Jerry says, and you know, there's nothing wrong with that. But I've kind of tuned out the stuff that Jerry Jones says nowadays, especially lately. Zach Williams thinks that Steele will be a steal in 3 years. We'll see. Like you said, Mike, we have seen the progression the last 2 games out of Steele. I think even early in the year, you saw a couple of games where he did hold up. I want to see the consistency go. Like,
yes.
Let me look at the rest of the year. Like 2 games is good. The Bengals, they're garbage. Let's see how they look against the rest of these guys. I think it'll be a good test against the Eagles. They have a pretty good front. And the Giants, you know, to close it out, they have a really good front. So let's take a look and see there on Steele. But yeah, Zach might have something there. Stevie Max got a question here before we go to the next topic. What do you guys think of Tim Settle? He's a legit run-stopping defensive tackle and just sits on Washington's bench. Could be worth a trade for a late-round pick. I actually liked him coming out of college. When I saw the Redskins draft him, I thought, oh man, you know, they're really bolstering that defensive line, and I think that's why they're keeping him around. You know what I mean? They got Daron Payne, and they have the other kid there, the other Bama guy. I mean, they did a phenomenal job building that interior of that defensive line, right? The Washington football team, whatever the hell.
They're all first-round picks, ain't them?
Yeah, a lot of good picks there. Chase Young out there, so man, it's loaded. They're loaded.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for Tim Settle to even play, but it's good rotational depth for him. They're not going to let that guy go.
Yeah. But you know, this would be kind of like what the Cowboys would do during the draft. You know, they tried to do it, you know, a couple seasons ago with who was it? I think they traded Switzer for some defensive tackle. It didn't work out. But maybe they try to throw a late round pick, you know, like a 5th, 6th or somewhere like that, and see if they can snag him away. Because Honestly, guys, I think the defensive tackle position is still a question mark. We got a little bit of a look out of Tristan, but was it enough to be like, okay, we're good there? I don't think so. You know what I mean? Neville Gallimore, I don't think we've seen enough there as well. So, defensive tackle, you want to get some depth there. Antoine Woods, he'll be a free agent, so that could be another area where they churn it up. They churn it up, baby. Great comments, guys. Jihad Ward. That's right. Shout out to Wink over here showing up here in the live stream. See you, Marvelin Group. Hit him up on Twitter. Wink is a good follow there. Good follow on Twitter. Hit him up. Marvelin Group. Jihad Ward. Appreciate that. Dunno Jenkins. I don't know if Washington was smart or if they were bad for a long time. Yeah. To get those first round defensive tackles, they were pretty bad for a good chunk, but they needed to answer the Cowboys' first rounded talent that we had. So, and I think they answered it. Our guys have aged now, and now their guys are kind of getting to the prime. So, it's that battle in the division, Mike, where you're drafting chess pieces. You know what I mean? Like, okay, they're drafting this guy. We got to answer with this. We drafted CD Lamb. We have these weapons at wide receiver. So then you see like these other division rivals investing in cornerbacks, right? So yeah, it's a bit of a chess game when it comes down to draft season, Mike.
Yeah. There's 6 games. You play 10 out of your division and 6 in your division, and you got to build around that 6. That's a hefty part of your schedule. And Cowboys, like I said, they haven't invested in defense much as of late. But other teams, if you're not taking care of your business, other teams will, and they're doing their thing over there.
Soup Trap. Gallimore has promised, but I'm over Woods and these other guys. Yeah. I have to agree there, man. I have to agree there. I haven't been really impressed. Woods, he'll pop off here and there, make a play here and there, but it's a little bit more of the same. You know what I mean? No consistency there. So
Jordan Lewis, Woods, Cheeto, Darian Tom. I mean, this defense, dude, we're going to be bad for a long time.
Let's see what else we got in here, guys. Let's talk about the draft here. Let's talk about the biggest needs for the Cowboys this offseason draft-wise, right? So we're talking about all these areas that we need to upgrade. But what is the biggest need, Mike? And everybody watching live and in the comments, what is the biggest need? Give me 2, 1A, 1B.
The biggest needs for the draft would be safety and linebacker.
Okay. Mike says safety and linebacker. It's hard to argue against that, right? I'm going to go with safety as well, and I'm going with defensive tackle because I just don't trust that middle there. You know what I mean? We're still getting gashed up the butt. Still getting gashed, and the linebackers are getting blown up at the second level still, and it's really limiting what Leighton Vander Esch and Jalen Smith have been able to do. You do see the numbers for Jalen Smith, but it's not the full story. You know what I mean? Leighton Vander Esch, these guys, it's hard, man. These guys are just getting blown up a lot of the times and taking a beating at the same time, Mike. But
well, I say linebacker because Jalen Smith, I don't know if you can fix that. Jalen Smith, the Mike linebacker, the most, he's the quarterback of the defense. The guy, I don't think the guy can run anymore. I mean, it looks like he's trying to knee high and run at the same time. He just doesn't look good, right? Sean Lee's aging. You really don't have good linebacker depth behind that thing, and then if you can get a good safety, that can help your linebackers out so much because you can put them in the box, etc. You don't have to get gashed. As long as you can find some good defensive tackles later on in the draft that can plug in some holes, you're going to improve the running scheme of your defense. But if you don't address a lot of these things, one defensive tackle is not going to fix the defense. You got to get multiple defensive tackles in there. You got to think about your rotation too. But if you can get you a stud linebacker that can read and stuff, Sean Lee in his prime, we had crappy defensive tackles too. Jason Hatcher was just coming up. Jay Ratliff was out with the growing. Sean Lee was leading the team in tackles, even with crappy defensive tackles. And so you find a linebacker that is not fool's gold, that can read. Micah Parsons all day, Penn State. Give me that guy, first-round pick.
All right, so there it is for Mike. Safety and linebacker, right? So, yeah, there's something to be said about that. Let's see what everybody's saying here in the comments. Robbie Radford, defensive tackle and linebacker. I think that's a good combo, right? So I think that's a good one there. Cowboy Mike, cornerback and safety. Yeah, and the thing about cornerback, I think that could be behind the list as well, because do you keep Cheeto Awuzie? Have you seen enough for him this season? He's been in and out of the lineup with injuries, hamstrings, COVID. I think he's done himself a disservice. I don't know what Awuzie's plan is for his career here with the Cowboys. And let me know in the comments, guys. Do you want to keep Cheeto Awuzie? Has he shown enough to earn a second contract, Mike? What's your thoughts there on Awuzie here?
No, he hasn't done enough to earn a second contract. And when I say certain contract, I'm talking about the bag. All right.
Yeah.
He's a bridge player. Let's call it what it is. You need to build around Trayvon Diggs. And how the Seattle Seahawks did it was they had Richard Sherman, that could be your Trayvon Diggs, and they had Brandon Maxwell. Wasn't that great of a corner, but they played off each other. You don't got to get a superstar to play next to Trayvon Diggs. Get you somebody that's decent, right? And shoot for that.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure, man. We'll see what the front office does this offseason. Fan base, the trust with the front office is shaken. So we're all going to be watching with eagle eyes. We're all going to be watching every little move, every little free agency addition. We're going to be watching like, hey, you guys screwed up immensely. Y'all missed on a majority of the free agents this last year. We're going to be watching, and then they got to turn that thing around, man. They got to turn around those free agents, because you can't replace everybody with draft picks, right? You still got to supplement your draft with decent to above decent free agent additions.
Well, somebody just James, he said, I don't agree with you, Mike. Parsons been playing linebackers for 2 years, still needs to grow. There was a guy in the 2013 draft who I wanted, and he only played linebacker, I think, for 1 year. His name's Anthony Barr, the Minnesota Vikings. That 1 year of film, I saw a lot. Leighton Vander Esch played 8-man football before playing in an 11-man sport in college, right? If I see talent like I seen in Anthony Barr, like they seen in Leighton Vander Esch, Micah Parsons can be a force to be reckoned. There's no room to grow. If the talent's there, Joe.
I think that's a really, really great point. You know what I mean? Especially when we're talking about Leighton Vander Esch, who can play really well. Anthony Barr is a really solid linebacker, and I think that's a great take, Mike, because you are seeing a lot of that as a default answer from a lot of people, and no shade on the comment there.
No shade at all. No shade at all.
But yeah, it is a very good point that there are these players. But then again, there's also the other side of the coin where you could end up with a Vernon Golston complete bust. So, like I've been saying, this draft process is going to be very testing for a lot of the front offices around the league, because you're going to have to go back a previous year in your coverage. You know what I mean? In your scouting reports, leading on your scouts and that kind of thing, because there's a lot of good players that opted out, and you have to, formulate and see where they're at right now. You know what I mean? I think these pro days and the combine are going to be huge for these opt-out players, Mike. Well,
yeah, and I'm glad we're talking the draft, because here's my problem here, Joe. Dak Prescott is stopping me from making my draft board, because if the Cowboys are still sitting there, pick number 4, pick number 5, and they didn't sign Dak, my whole draft board changes, right? if they sign Dak, then I can stick to the draft board that I really want to build. Dak Prescott is the anchor here. Dak watch in full effect after week 17.
We got an Earl Thomas sighting in the comments, Mike. Let's shoot this down before it gets crazy again. Do you think they'll call Earl Thomas this offseason, Mike?
No. Cowboys had before they drafted Connor Williams, they had the Seahawks on the phone. They tried to offer the trade. Fell through. He was a free agent. Fell through. They've tried their work on Earl Thomas. Sometimes things just don't work. That's an old saying, Joe. Let it go. If it comes back, it's meant to be. And they've let this thing go, and it hasn't been back.
Marvel and Group, I love this one here. This is a guy I've been talking about, Zaven Collins out of Tulsa. This is Reg Robinson's a teammate out of Tulsa, a very athletic player. If the Cowboys want to do a 3-4, he could be, he could play that, off the ball linebacker position, and very athletic, man. He's got all the intangibles, athleticism through the roof. Cowboys rumored to have a lot of interest in him, according to Dane Brugler. Marvel and Group, great point there. If you're looking to get a linebacker, obviously, you could get Zaven Collins, when you move on down here. That's the name that you're going to see elevate as this process goes. So great comment there, Marv. Appreciate you, Wink. Appreciate you, bro. Let's see what else we got here in the comments, guys. Let's see what else we got in here, guys. What other comments we got here? A lot of great conversation here in the comments, guys. We do appreciate you that. Let's see what else we got in here, guys. Yeah, so I think Michael Parsons is going to be one of those players that's going to be of a great discussion amongst, draft nicks, and as we break down, the film. You know what I mean? So definitely got to keep an eye on, but you do have to take into account that he did opt out. What is his shape right now? Nick Bolton is another guy that is getting some early praise from certain areas. So that's another name you guys can keep an eye on there. Brandon Boyce, he likes the linebacker out of UNC, Chaz Surratt. Check him out. Let us know what you guys think. Let us know what you guys think in the comments. All right. So, man, just a very interesting season for the Cowboys. It's been one of the most tumultuous seasons since Jerry Jones has bought the Cowboys. I mean, you gotta look at that and be like, we haven't been this bad since '89. Free agency misses everywhere. Missing on Tarkle Charlton. That set you back a few years. You can't miss on these first round picks because it does. It really does affect you a season or two down the line. So, you're still looking for that blue chip. I mean, you have DeMarcus Lawrence, but like I said, you want the other guy to be another double-digit sack guy, and Lawrence should be that, but he's looking like he's hovering around 5 sacks a season now, so that's a little bit scary. So, I think if you can get an impact pass rusher in this draft, you need to go get him. But for that type of player, this draft doesn't have that on the top side where the Cowboys are drafting. You know what I mean? I mean, there's Gregory Rousseau and some of these other guys, but he's an opted-out player as well, and some of his film is kind of questionable. So, yeah, you might have to go and find somebody else a little bit later in the draft. That's why defensive tackle for me, secondary, you can't go wrong there. I don't know that they keep any of these guys. Jordan, Xavier Woods, Cheeto. I don't know if they keep any of them.
Yeah, I do know, and I don't really like I said, Dak Prescott is the focal point after week 17, and he's going to be the telltale sign of how they go. Because if you don't sign it, you got to draft when you can't stick with Andy Dalton, right?
Yeah.
You got it. So I can't build a draft board until I know about Dak Prescott.
Yeah. Speaking of pass rushers, Mike, this is a good one here from DC for Life. Should we re-sign Alden Smith? I say only if he's cheap. What do you think, Mike?
Only if he's cheap. I mean, he hasn't played in 5 years. I mean, I was super happy that he picked up the ball and ran it in with about 70 yards or something like that. He got his due. You know, there was a lot of running in that, running away from his problems, running away from substance abuse for 5 years. That touchdown right there capped that. Now, what can he build on? Let's face it, he's 30. He's going to be over 30 years old next year. You can't sign him like a Robert Quinn. You know what I'm saying? Robert Quinn and Alden Smith are not even, they're not in the same universe. All right. So that's why Robert Quinn still got that bag. But I don't know, man. Only if he's cheap, another 1-year deal, high incentive deal. I'm all for it. But don't go paying this. Don't give him the bag. All right. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, they need to get a little bit stingy with that with some of these players. You know what I mean? Just doling out money left and right, and then they disappear. You know, we can't have that anymore. Jalen Phillips on Miami, that's a good one there too. I actually, for me myself, Cowboy Mike, I actually like Jalen Phillips a little bit more than Russo. So yeah, that's a good name to keep an eye on there. Let's see what else we got in here, guys. Alden Smith. Getting the fumble recovery TD was a highlight moment for the season. He's put up solid numbers this season. I think for where he's at right now, I think he's done a decent contribution to the defense. But you know, like we always say, Mike, if you can upgrade somebody, upgrade them. And I think you can. I don't know if in this draft you can find somebody that's going to impact you as far as a pass rusher, like, you know, like a Chase Young or some of the Bosa brothers or some of these other type of guys. But I think you can fortify that middle of your defense with, you know, look at the defensive tackles out of Alabama. I think, you know, that's a good one there. Marvin Wilson from Florida State. Those guys put out good defensive tackles. Barmore from Alabama. He's a good one. So Cowboys will definitely have the opportunity in this draft to fill some of these needs, but they can't miss on these free agent guys. You know, if they're going to go cheap again, myself and fans, other YouTubers, they can't overhype these low-level free agent guys. You know what I mean? I don't want to see a hype video for a fifth-week free agent pumping him up as he's going to be a big impact. These guys last to the fourth and fifth week of free agency for a reason. The other teams are passing on a lot of these guys too for a reason. You know what I mean? So we need to keep that in the back of our head when we get to free agency. You know, if the Cowboys aren't going to spend money on the first and second week of free agency, it's going to be the same old. You know what I mean? Yeah.
They got a lot of work to do. Troy Aikman was absolutely right. Where does this franchise even begin to rebuild? They got a lot of work to do, Joe.
Yes, they really do, man. They really, really do. A lot of work to be had, guys. A lot of work to be had. But I think that's it for tonight's show, guys. Mike, do appreciate you tonight as well, man. Great show as usual. Great topics. Great contribution from the chat box and everybody in the comments. Shout out to all you guys. Please hit like on this video if you enjoyed tonight's content and discussion. If you're watching this on replay, show some love and pound that like button. Hit the bell notification so you know when Mike and I come on here for the Frisco Report and give you this awesome show. You know that I can't do this without Mike. Mike, let everybody know where they can find you if they haven't already.
I couldn't do this without you guys right here in the comment section. Obviously, Joe couldn't do it without him. He does all the editing, all the work, all the topic work. I'm in front of a computer all day, so he comes up with these topics, thumbnails. Joe is just the man, guys. Definitely click like for Joe. Click like right now for Joe. Let's get 40 likes on it right now. We're at 35. Let's get 40 on it. But no, Cowboys Corner right here on YouTube, _Cowboys Corner on Twitter, guys. Make sure you give me a follow. Two more. We're at 40. Get one more. Who's going to be the 40th like? Give me a follow, thefriscoreport.com. There it is. We hit 40. Thank you, guys. Joe, thank you man. Thank you.
Thanks, man. Thanks everybody out there. Great show, man. And we'll continue to do these great shows and covering the draft and where the Cowboys go from here. It's gonna be a great discussion. We'll catch you guys next week for another Frisco Report. Peace, everybody.